2 years, coming up on 3 years, um, is what's the one question that you wish you would have asked yourself
Mm.
earlier in your entrepreneurial career when faced with a little bit of uncertainty and direction? And I know that's probably a hefty question. And like, just to give
Yeah.
you context for myself too, it's like 90% of my business is in person.
Mhm.
In terms of online, that's the kind of the direction of whether or not I really want to go towards.
Mhm.
More specifically, creating almost like a Wodify version of kettlebells
Right.
um, platform. So
Mhm.
it's just basically just trying to figure out what the next step is going to be.
Okay, so I guess so me asking myself a question is always going to be different than you asking something for you because we're different people, right? And we have different goals. And so everything usually ladders up to like, what's the goal? What's the why? And so, like right now, do you have like a monetary goal? Do you have an impact goal? And believe me, I have no issues if you're like, I just want to make a certain amount of money. Like I get that. Because any of the businesses that you just mentioned, so whether it's the brick and mortar business, or you want to start doing training for those people online, or it's doing the Wodify version, which is basically no service and just providing workouts and whatnot. Um, all of those are potential businesses, but pursuing all of them at the same time will virtually guarantee that you don't succeed at any of them. And so the biggest issue when you're starting out is just picking the path and being willing to commit to it with the uncertainty that comes with it. Because like every entrepreneurial path has uncertainty. Like, and that's what makes entrepreneurship hard. It's literally the not knowing and the pain of suffering consequences for ignorance, for things that you've learned now that you're like, if I had only known then what I know now. And that's every entrepreneur until the day they die. And it's just wishing that it were different that causes a lot of the struggle. So which of these things of the three that I just mentioned, like which of those is the one that like lights you up the most?
I mean, in-person training, obviously, like we live in a small beach town community where everybody knows everybody and it's fun,
Cool.
it's family, it's convenient. I will say there's that comfort factor that
Mhm.
it almost in one scope is very beneficial because
Mhm.
it is so comfortable. But in
Yeah.
reality too, like comfort is the enemy of achievement and growth. So it's like, I know like the comfortable side is the in-person and
Yeah.
it's the community and it's fun, it's family, friends, whereas the uncomfortable, more challenging, but also very big picture wise would be the online
Sure.
going full tilt that side. Now I've breached into the gap of like 3-day launches, 4-day launches of,
Right.
small ticket, low ticket offers. But in terms of, trying to scale and make an impact on the world,
Yeah.
then
The world's really big. That's always really hard. Cause I remember we had an event with gym owners and somebody stood up. I said, what's your mission? They're like, I want to impact 1 million lives. So I was like, did you have a brick and mortar location that has like 200 members? Like, like if you really want to do that, then you would actually just, you'd approach it very differently, or you'd have a time horizon that's the rest of your life, right? It's like one or the other. If you're like, I want to do that in 3 years, you wouldn't start with a brick and mortar location. And so the thing is that what you said earlier is like you feel comfortable and it sounds like you want to grow. I just want to make sure that's correct before I like keep going.
Absolutely.
Okay. So there was like an underlying assumption, at least that was unspoken, and I just want to draw attention to it, which was you're like the brick and mortar thing is comfortable, it's family, it's friendly, it's fun. I'm assuming it's profitable. I'm assuming you're making some money doing that. The thing is like you could like just doing more of what you're currently doing and saying like, how do I open a second location? Or how do I, like how do I open like 5 locations over the next 5 years or whatever it is?
Yeah.
That would produce probably just as much of a challenge as going online would, except you already have 2 years of learnings on how to run that business where you have none in the online space.
Yeah.
And so like you always just want to stack knowledge within a specific vertical so that you just go deeper and deeper on it, because that's where the compounding returns happen. Like the richest people that I know have been in the same space for 40 years. They just know everything there is to know about the space. And like, that's how they've made their money. And so with what you're doing, like you can either open a location that's not necessarily in a cheap beach town and test your mettle and see how good you are at actually scaling a team, hiring somebody else, seeing if somebody else, if you can actually incentivize people, build a culture so that people want to work for you, that you can recreate the success. And that'll show you whether the success that you had was because of you or because of your ability as a businessman.